Welcome. Settle in wherever you are. Let the weight of your body soften into whatever holds you. The mattress, the pillow, the blanket pulled up just so. There's nothing left for you to do tonight. Nothing to solve. Nothing to remember. Take a slow breath in and let it out. And another. Let your shoulders drop a little further than you thought they could. Let your jaw soften. Let your tongue rest behind your teeth. Let your eyes, if they're still open, grow heavy and warm. Tonight, we are going to a place that is far away from anywhere you have been. A place built of glass and water and patient violet blue light. You don't need to picture it sharply. You don't need to try. The story will do the picturing for you. Your only task is to listen, and even that you can let go of whenever you wish. If your mind wanders away from my voice, that is perfectly all right. If it wanders so far that it tips into sleep, that is better still. My voice will continue, slow and quiet, and your breathing will continue, slow and quiet, and the tide of the story will rise and fall around you like a gentle, warm sea. Let yourself grow a little heavier. Let your hands rest. Let your feet rest. Let the small muscles around your eyes rest. The small muscles at the back of your neck rest. The small muscles between your eyebrows rest. We are going to step slowly through a doorway. On the other side of the doorway is a conservatory, a great glass dome that floats half submerged in a warm, shallow sea. Inside the conservatory live thousands of luminous jellyfish, drifting between gardens of kelp and rows of hand-blown bell jars. Inside the conservatory live a few quiet caretakers who walk barefoot on cork floors, and who tend the glass, and who sip tea, and who speak very little. You are going to meet one of them tonight, a glasswright named Imeris. You will follow her through her evening shift, through warm salt mist, and the low hiss of a blue flame, and the slow, slow pulse of 1,000 luminous bells. Nothing will hurry. Nothing will startle. The conservatory tilts with the tide by half a degree each hour, and that is the largest motion you will feel tonight. So, one more breath in and out, and we begin. You step through the doorway. The first thing you notice is the light. It is violet blue, the color of deep water just before evening, and it pours down from above, filtered through living curtains of jellyfish that drift along the inner curve of the glass. The light moves the way water moves. It ripples across the walls. It ripples across the floor. It ripples across the backs of your hands when you lift them, slowly, in front of your face. The second thing you notice is the warmth. Salt mist hangs in the air, very fine, very soft, and it settles on your cheeks and on your forehead and on the bridge of your nose. It is not damp. It is not heavy. It is only warm. The warmth of a sea that has held the sun all day and is now, slowly, letting that warmth go back into the air. You stand for a moment just inside the doorway, letting your eyes adjust. The cork floor is cool beneath your bare feet and a little damp, and it gives very slightly when you shift your weight. You had not realized your shoes were already gone. That is how this place works. The door takes them gently and gives them back when you leave. In front of you, the conservatory opens out into a curved gallery. The ceiling is a vast dome of glass panels, joined by ribs of dark, salt-polished wood, and through every panel you can see jellyfish, pale jellyfish, blue jellyfish, jellyfish the color of moonstone, jellyfish so faint they're almost only the idea of a jellyfish, drifting up, drifting down, pulsing once, drifting pulsing once again. They make a sound when they touch the glass. It is not quite a chime. It is softer than a chime. It is the sound a thumbnail might make against a wine glass that has been filled almost to the brim. A small, round, hollow note, and then another, somewhere else along the dome, and then another. The conservatory is full of these small notes, quiet, scattered, never the same twice. You take a step forward, then another. The cork gives a little. The light ripples a little. The salt mist settles on your skin a little. To your left, a low railing runs along the edge of the gallery, and beyond the railing, the floor drops away into a shallow pool. The pool is part of the conservatory's foundation. Water from the warm sea outside is let in through carefully tended channels, and it laps very gently against the cork piling, and it carries the soft, muffled sound of waves up through the boards beneath your feet. You can feel that sound, almost more than hear it, a low, slow heartbeat under everything. In the pool, the kelp gardens grow, long ribbons of green and gold anchored to stones, swaying in slow time with the tide. And among the kelp, more jellyfish, these ones closer than the ones in the dome, drifting, pulsing, pausing. When one passes near the surface, its glow brightens the underside of the floorboards for a moment, and you can see the grain of the wood in violet blue silhouette. You watch this for a long while, long enough that you forget you are watching, long enough that your shoulders drop further still, and your breath grows long, and the half-degree tilt of the floor catches you for the first time. It is the gentlest motion. You would not have noticed it, except that the railing in front of you was, a moment ago, level with a particular jellyfish on a far side of the pool, and now it is a hair's breadth above that jellyfish. And the change happened so slowly that it was almost not a change at all. This is the tilt. This is the tide doing what the tide does. By the end of the hour, the floor will have leaned half a degree, and then, slowly, it will lean back. The caretakers say you can learn to feel the tilt in your hip bones if you stand quietly enough. You don't try. You only notice and let the noticing pass. Beyond the gallery, somewhere deeper inside the conservatory, a low hiss begins. It is the hiss of a blue flame, small, focused, tucked into a workbench behind a curtain of kelp. You know, without being told, that this is where Imeris is working tonight. You know, without being told, that you are welcome to walk toward the sound. So you do. You walk slowly. You walk the way the caretakers walk. Heel down first, very softly, then the whole foot, then a pause before the next step. This is to keep the water still. Sudden footfalls send ripples through the pool, and ripples disturb the jellyfish. And the jellyfish, when disturbed, retreat into the deeper kelp and won't return for an hour or more. So the caretakers walk gently. So you walk gently. So the conservatory remains quiet, and the jellies remain at ease, and the soft chimes against the glass continue, scattered and slow. As you walk, you take in more of the place. The curved walls of the gallery are lined at waist height with shelves of bell jars, hand-blown, each one a little different from the next, each one home to a single small jellyfish. These are the convalescents, the jellies who needed quieter water for a while, the jellies who came in with a torn bell, or a tired ring of muscle, or a tangled trail of tentacle. They drift inside their jars at their own slow pace. Some pulse, some hover. One, in a jar near your elbow, has folded itself almost into a small, soft star and is resting along the curved bottom of the glass. Each jar has a little label, written in a careful hand. You don't try to read the labels. The script is one you have never seen, and even if you had, the violet blue light makes the letters swim a little. You only notice that someone took the time to letter everyone, and that the lettering is small and even and patient. Above the shelves, salt mist humidifiers hang from the wooden ribs of the ceiling. They are copper, hammered into shapes like upturned flowers, and a fine, warm vapor drifts down from each one, steady and unhurried. You can feel a slightly denser warmth on your face whenever you pass beneath one. The mist smells faintly of clean ocean, of stone that has been washed by many tides, and faintly, beneath that, of beeswax. The beeswax, you will learn, is for the seals of the bell jars. The glasswright melts it down and works it into the rims of every jar, so the water inside does not seep, and the salt does not crust, and the little resident inside is held in a perfectly steady, gently breathing world. You walk on. The gallery curves to the right. You curve with it. The dome overhead grows taller, and the jellyfish in its highest panels are so far above you that they look like distant lanterns, pale and slow. You watch them, and you walk, and the cork gives very slightly under each soft step. The hiss of the blue flame is closer now, steady, quiet, warm. You reach a place where the gallery widens into a small alcove, half screened by a hanging curtain of dried kelp. The kelp clicks softly when the conservatory tilts. You step around the curtain slowly so as not to make it sway. And there, in the alcove, is Imeris. She is sitting at a low workbench of pale, salt-polished wood. A small blue flame burns from a metal nozzle in front of her, hissing very softly, the color of a deep evening sky. In her hands, turning slowly, is a bell jar, cracked along one curve, but only a little, only a thin, pale line that catches the violet light. She does not look up when you come in. She has felt you, perhaps, in the way the room felt you, but she is at a careful point in her work, and her attention is on the glass. You stand at the edge of the alcove and watch. Imeris is small and unhurried. Her hair is the color of wet sand and is tied back with a soft cloth. She wears a long apron of waxed linen, and her sleeves are rolled to the elbow, and her feet, like yours, are bare on the cork floor. Her eyes, behind a thin pair of work glasses, are steady on the jar. She turns the jar in front of the flame, once around, twice around. The pale line begins to soften. You can see the glass relax. You can see the crack become not a crack, but a seam, and the seam become not a seam, but a faint shimmer, and the shimmer become, after a few more slow turns, nothing at all. She lifts the jar away from the flame. She breathes out. She sets the jar down on a wooden cradle, and she folds her hands in her lap, and she lets the jar cool. This is what glasswrights do. They warm the glass gently. They mend the small hurts of the small homes. They do not push. They do not rush. They let the glass remember its own roundness. You stand and watch. You feel the warmth of the flame on the air. You smell the faint sweetness of beeswax from a small bowl beside the bench. You hear the soft, steady hiss, and somewhere behind you, you hear a jelly bump, very lightly, against the inside of the dome. A small, round note. Then another, much farther away. Imeris looks up at last. Her eyes find yours, and she smiles. A small, slow, easy smile, the kind that asks nothing of you. She lifts a hand and gestures gently to a cushioned stool at the edge of the alcove. You go to it. You sit. The stool is low, and your bare feet rest on the cool cork, and you find that you can settle here for as long as you like. She returns to her work. After the jar has cooled, Imeris stands. She moves to a wide, shallow basin of warm seawater at the far edge of the bench. Floating in the basin is a single small jelly, a moon jelly, no bigger than the palm of her hand, pale white, with the faintest violet inside. This is the resident of the mended jar. This is the one who has been waiting patiently in the basin while its home was warmed back into shape. Imeris dips a long-handled net of soft cloth into the basin. Very slowly, she slides the cloth beneath the jelly and lifts it with such care that the water around it barely moves, and carries it across the bench and lowers it into the mended jar. The jelly drifts down, finds the new curve of the glass, and pulses once, a slow, gentle pulse, and then drifts upward again, and pulses, and drifts. Imeris watches it settle. Then she takes the bowl of beeswax and a small wooden spatula, and she works a fine, even line of wax around the rim of the jar, and she sets the lid in place, and she presses gently. The seal closes. The little world inside the jar is, once again, a steady world. She lifts the jar in both hands. She holds it at eye level. She watches the moon jelly drift and pulse and drift. She nods, almost to herself. Then she carries the jar slowly out of the alcove, and you, after a breath, rise from the stool and follow. You walk together along the gallery. She moves with a soft, careful caretaker's step. You match her. The cork is cool beneath your feet. The violet blue light ripples across the curved walls. The mist drifts down from the copper flowers above. The conservatory tilts by a hair, by a breath, as the tide outside continues its slow, slow rise. She carries the jar to a shelf where there is an empty cradle waiting. She slides the jar into the cradle. She adjusts the angle very slightly. She steps back. The moon jelly in the jar drifts upward, finds the curve of the glass, taps it once, that small round note, and drifts downward again. Imeris smiles her small, slow smile. She turns to you and lifts her chin gently toward the gallery ahead. You understand, without words, that the round has begun. The evening shift, the slow walking circuit through the conservatory, checking the seals on each dome, refilling the humidifiers, listening, watching, mending where mending is needed. You walk together. The first dome is small, only a little taller than Imeris herself, and it sits at a junction in the gallery, surrounded by potted ferns, whose fronds nearly touch its glass. The dome holds a colony of tiny jellies, none larger than a fingernail, drifting in the water like slow snow. Imeris places her palm against the outside of the glass. She holds it there for a long moment, eyes half closed. She is feeling for any place where the glass is cooler than it should be, any place where a draft might have found its way in. She finds none. She nods. She runs her finger gently along the seal at the base of the dome, where the glass meets a ring of dark wood, and she checks for any softness in the beeswax. There is none. She steps back. She moves on. You follow. The next dome is taller than you, taller than the ceiling of an ordinary room, and inside it grows a small forest of kelp, golden green, anchored in a bed of pale sand. Among the kelp drift larger jellies, soft and pale, with long trailing veils. You can see, faintly, your own reflection in the curved glass, layered over the kelp and the jellies and the violet blue light. Your reflection looks calm. Your reflection looks heavy-lidded. You watch it for a moment, and then look past it, into the water. Imeris circles this dome slowly. She runs her hand along the seal at every joint. She tilts her head, listening, perhaps, for the small chimes of the jellies inside, perhaps for something else. She pauses at one panel, lays both palms against it, and stays there a while. Then she breathes out, satisfied, and moves on. You move on with her. The gallery winds further. You pass through a long corridor whose walls are entirely glass, and whose ceiling is entirely glass, and whose floor is cork. And through every surface you can see jellyfish, above, beside, beneath. The light here is so much like being underwater that you find your breath slowing further still, as if your body has decided, on its own, to match the pace of the drifting bells. Pulse, drift, pulse, drift. The half-degree tilt nudges you, very softly, into a new balance. You correct without thinking. The corridor opens out again into a small round chamber where the humidifiers hang lower than elsewhere and where the salt mist is denser. Your skin grows warm. The air tastes faintly of clean ocean and beeswax. Imeris stops here. She lifts a copper kettle from a hook on the wall, and she carries it to a basin of fresh water set into a wooden counter, and she fills the kettle slowly. Then she carries the kettle to each of the humidifiers in turn, and she opens a small hatch at the top of each, and she pours water in. The water meets the warm copper inside and exhales, gently, into mist. You watch this. You feel the warmth grow. You feel the mist settle on your cheeks. You close your eyes, briefly, and the violet light comes through your eyelids as a soft, soft glow. When you open them again, Imeris has finished, and she has hooked the kettle back on the wall, and she is gesturing gently for you to follow. You follow. The next dome is the smallest of them all, a single bell jar standing alone on a wooden pedestal in a curved alcove. Inside the jar is a single jelly, the size of a thimble, and it is glowing more brightly than any of the others. It is the color of warm violet, edged in gold. You don't know why this one glows so. You don't ask. Imeris circles the pedestal once. She nods to the jelly, almost as if greeting it. The jelly pulses once, brightly, and then settles into a steadier glow. You and Imeris stand there for a long moment, watching. Then onward. The gallery winds and curves and rises by a few cork steps and falls again by a few cork steps, and at every turn there's another dome, another jar, another small forest of kelp, another drifting cloud of pale, slow bells. You stop counting. There's no need to count. You are not measuring this place. You are only walking it. At one of the larger domes, Imeris pauses longer than usual. She presses her ear very lightly against the glass. She listens. She closes her eyes. You stand very still, and the cork is cool beneath your feet, and the half-degree tilt continues its patient work, and somewhere above you, a jelly taps the dome with a soft, round note. Imeris straightens. She smiles. She takes a small, soft cloth from the pocket of her apron, and she wipes a slow ring around the panel where condensation has gathered, and the panel clears, and a particularly large jelly inside drifts close and pulses, lazily, as if in thanks. You move on. Time passes here in a strange way. You are not sure how long you have been walking. You are not sure that it matters. The light has not changed, because the light here is always violet blue. The temperature has not changed, because the salt mist keeps it always at the same gentle warmth. Only the tilt of the floor changes, and the tilt is so slow that it might as well be no change at all. You walk. Imeris walks. The cork is cool. The mist is warm. The jellies drift and pulse and drift. The dome is full of small, round notes. After some time, you could not say how long, you and Imeris come to a small wooden door set into the curve of the gallery. It is round at the top, like a porthole, and bound with dark, salt-polished iron. Imeris lifts a small latch and pushes the door open, and warm air drifts out, and with it, the smell of something steeping, something green and quiet, like grass cut in the rain. You follow her inside. This is a small tea room, or perhaps it is a galley, or perhaps it is something else, something the conservatory has just for itself. It is a small, round room with a low ceiling and a single round window of clear glass. And through the window, you can see a slow curtain of jellyfish drifting upward, drifting downward, drifting upward again. In the center of the room is a low table of pale wood, and on the table is a clay pot, and beside the pot are 2 small cups. On the floor, beside the table, are 2 cushions. Sitting on one of the cushions is the Night Apprentice. The Apprentice is young, younger than Imeris perhaps, though it is hard to tell, and they are wearing a tunic the color of deep kelp, and their feet, too, are bare on the cork floor. They look up when you and Imeris come in, and they smile, the same small, slow, easy smile, and they lift the clay pot and pour. The tea is the color of pale gold. It steams gently. It smells, as you knew it would, of steeped seagrass, green and sweet and slow, and beneath the seagrass, very faintly, of beeswax. You sit on the cushion beside the table. You take the small warm cup in both hands. You hold it for a moment, letting the warmth seep into your palms. You raise it to your face, and you breathe in, and the steam settles on your cheeks, the way the salt mist has been settling all along, only warmer now, and closer. You sip. The tea is mild. It tastes the way it smells, like grass, like clean rain, like a meadow held in warm hands. You can feel it traveling slowly down through your chest and into your belly, and somewhere along the way, your shoulders drop a little further. You hadn't realized they had anywhere left to drop. Imeris sips too. The Apprentice sips too. No one speaks. There is no need to speak. The room is full of the warm, steady presence of 3 people who are content to share quiet. Through the round window, the jellyfish continue to drift. One of them, larger than the others, comes close to the glass and pauses, hovering, almost looking in. Its bell glows a soft violet, edged with gold, and as it hovers, it pulses, very slowly, 3 times. Then it drifts upward and away. The Apprentice smiles at the window. Imeris smiles at the window. You smile at the window. You sip your tea. After a long, easy while, you cannot say how long, Imeris sets her cup down on the table. The Apprentice sets their cup down on the table. You set your cup down on the table. The Apprentice gathers the cups and the pot slowly and moves them to a small basin in the corner of the room, where they will wait patiently to be washed. Imeris rises. You rise. You step out of the tea room together, leaving the Apprentice to their own quiet work. Back in the gallery, the light is still violet blue. The mist is still warm. The cork is still cool. The conservatory has tilted, perhaps, another small fraction of a degree. Or perhaps it has begun to tilt back. You cannot tell. The tide is doing what the tide does, and the floor is following, and you are walking it slowly with bare feet. There are still seals to check. There are still humidifiers to fill. There's still a round to finish. You walk it together. You pass a long row of bell jars on a curved shelf, and Imeris pauses at each one, just for a moment, just long enough to lay her fingertip against the side of the jar and to feel its temperature. If a jar is cooler than it should be, she breathes onto it gently and lets the warmth of her breath settle. If a jar is warmer than it should be, she touches the floor of the jar with the back of her hand and lets the warmth move into her instead. The little jellies inside hardly notice. They drift. They pulse. They drift. You pass a panel where condensation has beaded thickly along the inside of the glass, and Imeris takes her soft cloth from her apron pocket and wipes a slow ring, and the panel clears, and the jellies behind it brighten almost imperceptibly, as if grateful for a clearer view. You pass a small cabinet in a quiet corner, and Imeris opens it and takes out a folded square of linen and replaces it with another folded square that she draws from her apron and closes the cabinet again. You don't ask what is in the linen. You only watch. You pass a slow curve of the gallery where the floor dips just a hair toward the pool, and the muffled sound of waves beneath the floorboards is a little louder here. You can almost feel each wave as a slow, low pulse beneath your bare feet. You stop, briefly, to feel it. Imeris stops too. She doesn't seem to be in any hurry. After a while, you walk on. The round draws toward its end. The last few domes are quiet. No condensation, no soft glass, no jellies in need of attention. Imeris circles each one slowly, runs her fingers along the seals, presses her palm to the panels, listens. Each time, she nods. Each time, she moves on. At last, she comes to a place you have not yet been. It is the largest dome in the conservatory. You step into the chamber beneath it, and your breath, almost without your permission, slows further. The dome here rises so high above you that you cannot see where it ends. The glass curves up and inward, and through every panel, drift jellyfish. Hundreds of them, perhaps thousands. Pale, violet, gold-edged, moonstone white. They drift in long, slow currents that move around the inside of the dome like rivers of light. They pulse, not all at once, but in a slow, scattered rhythm that, when you watch it long enough, becomes a kind of synchrony. Many, many small breaths happening together. A great, quiet breathing. Beneath the dome, set into the cork floor, is a long, cushioned ledge. It is wide enough to lie on. It is covered in soft, pale linen. It is the color of warm sand. Imeris gestures to the ledge. She smiles her small, slow smile. You sit. She sits beside you, a little apart, leaving you the center of the ledge. She crosses her bare feet to the ankles. She rests her hands in her lap. She looks up. You look up too. Above you, the jellies drift and pulse and drift. The violet-blue light moves across your face. The salt mist settles, warm and fine, on your forehead and your cheeks and the bridge of your nose. Somewhere, far above, a jelly taps the inside of the glass with a small, round note. Somewhere else, another. Somewhere else, another. The conservatory tilts very slowly, by a hair, by a breath, and the tilt cradles you very gently against the soft linen. You let yourself lean back. The ledge supports you completely. The linen is warm. The cork is cool against your heels. You let your hands rest, palms up beside you. You let your shoulders fall further than they have all night. You watch the jellies. They pulse and drift and pulse and drift. Many of them pulse together. Not all. Not every time. But often enough that you begin to feel it. The slow shared breath. The slow shared rhythm. You breathe in when they brighten. You breathe out when they soften. You don't try. It just happens. In, out, in, out. Imeris beside you breathes the same slow breath. The conservatory breathes the same slow breath. The tide beneath the floorboards breathes the same slow breath. In, out. The light moves across your face. The mist settles on your skin. The half-degree tilt cradles you. The cork is cool. The linen is warm. A jelly taps the glass somewhere high above with a small round note. And another. And another. You are growing very heavy now. Heavier than you were when you first stepped through the doorway. Heavier than you have been in a long while. The kind of heaviness that is not a weight, but a settling, like sand settling to the bottom of a calm jar. You can feel it in your hands, and in your feet, and in the small muscles around your eyes. Your eyes have grown soft. The jellies above you have blurred, very gently, into a slow, pulsing wash of violet light. You don't try to focus. There's nothing to focus on. There's only light and breath and the long, slow rocking of the tide. Imeris is still beside you. She is breathing slowly. She is watching the dome with her small, easy smile. She is not waiting for anything. She is not expecting anything from you. She is only sitting quietly while you rest. You let yourself rest. You let the day, whatever it was, dissolve. You let the things you remembered, whatever they were, drift away, the way the jellies drift, slowly, without urgency. You let the things you might have planned, whatever they were, soften and grow distant. You let the lists, the small worries, the small thoughts, drift up, drift down, drift away. There's nothing to hold. There's nothing to carry. There's only the violet blue light and the warm mist and the slow breath of 1,000 quiet bells. In, out. You feel the conservatory tilt very slowly back the other way. The tide outside has begun to turn. The floor cradles you a little differently now. The shift is so gentle that it is more like the rocking of a hand than the moving of a building. You sink a little further into the ledge. The linen is warm. The cork is cool. The mist settles. The light moves. The bells pulse. A jelly taps the glass with a small round note. Far below you, beneath the cork, beneath the foundations, the warm, shallow sea moves in long, quiet waves. You can almost feel each wave as a slow heartbeat under everything. One, and another, and another. Your breath has grown long, longer than you remember it being in some time. Each in-breath is gentle. Each out-breath is gentler. The jellies pulse together. The conservatory breathes. The tide breathes. You breathe. Imeris breathes. Somewhere far away, the night apprentice is washing 2 small cups in a basin, slowly, and the soft sound of water and clay is the only sound in their small, round room. The hiss of the blue flame has gone out hours ago, or moments ago. You cannot tell. It does not matter. You let your eyes close, if they're not already closed. The violet blue light comes through your eyelids as a soft, gentle glow. You can still feel the slow pulse of the dome above you, even with your eyes closed. In, out. The conservatory tilts back, slowly, slowly, by a hair, by a breath. The mist settles. The cork is cool. The linen is warm. A small, round note, somewhere far above you. Another, another. You are very far inside the dome now. You are very far inside the slow breathing of 1,000 quiet bells. You are very far inside the warm violet light. You don't need to come back. You don't need to remember the way. You don't need to follow my voice any further than you wish. If sleep is near, let it take you. If sleep is here, let it hold you. Imeris is still beside you, breathing slowly. She is in no hurry. She is content to sit. The conservatory is content to tilt. The tide is content to turn. The jellies are content to drift and pulse and drift. You are content to rest. In, out. Warm mist. Cool cork. Soft linen. Violet light. A small round note. In, out. The dome breathes. You breathe. Drift. Pulse. Drift. The light grows softer. The notes grow farther apart. The mist settles. The tide turns. Warm. Quiet. Slow. Rest now. Rest. Drift. Pulse. Drift. And sleep. Sleep if it has come. Sleep if it is coming. And if it has not yet come, that is well too. There is no hurry here. There has never been any hurry here. The conservatory continues its slow tilt. A hair this way, a breath that way. The cork floor lifts and settles beneath the linen mat, lifts and settles, the way a small boat rests against a quiet dock. You are the small boat. The dock is your breath. In, out. Imeris has not moved. You can hear, if you listen for it, the very soft sound of her own breathing, slower than yours perhaps, or matched to yours. It is hard to tell now. The apprentice is no longer washing the cups. The cups are set upside down on a folded cloth, drying. You did not see her finish, but you know it is done, the way you know the tide has turned without watching it turn. The violet light comes and goes, comes, goes. A long, slow breath of color through the curved glass above you. The jellies far overhead, though you are not certain anymore which is above and which is around, pulse in their patient way, opening, closing, the way a hand opens and closes when it is remembering how to hold something gently. The bells, very far away now, ring small round notes at long intervals. One note, a long quiet. Another note, a longer quiet. The bells are not counting anything. The bells are simply ringing. That is all bells have ever done. You can let the bells ring without you. You can let the dome breathe without you. You can let the tide turn without you. None of it needs your attention. None of it has ever needed your attention. It has only ever been here, quietly, doing its quiet work. Warm mist, cool cork, soft linen, a small round note, in, out. Somewhere in the conservatory, a slow drop of condensation falls from the inner curve of the glass and lands in the moss along the wall. A tiny, soft sound. Moss keepers, if any are still awake at this hour, will tend to it in the morning. But it is not morning. It is not any hour at all. It is the hour between hours, the long, quiet hour the dome keeps for itself and for you. You are welcome here in this hour. You have always been welcome here. There's nothing you must do, nothing you must remember, nothing you must carry. If your shoulders are still holding something, let them set it down. The cork floor will hold it. The cork floor has held heavier things than this. If your jaw is still holding something, let it soften. The warm mist will smooth it. The warm mist is very patient. If your hands are still holding something, let them rest open, palms up or palms down, whichever is easier. The linen will hold them. The linen is in no hurry to be anywhere else. In, out. The dome breathes. You breathe. Somewhere very far above or very far within, a single jelly drifts past the glass and lights it for a moment with a softer violet. A violet that is almost silver, almost the color of moonlight on still water. You see it through your closed eyes as a slow brightening, a slow dimming, a slow brightening, a slow dimming. And then it is past, and another comes, and another. They do not hurry. They have nowhere to hurry to. They are the dome's slow thoughts drifting through the dome's slow mind, and you are inside that mind now, resting in it, the way a small, smooth stone rests in the bed of a slow river. You are the small, smooth stone. The river is your breath. In, out. Imeris stirs, only a little, only enough to draw her shawl a half-inch closer around her shoulders. You hear the soft sound of the cloth moving against itself. Then nothing. Then her breathing again, slow, even, far. She will sit with you as long as you wish. She has sat with many travelers in this room, on this cork floor, under this dome, and she has learned the shape of patience, the way the dome has learned the shape of the tide. She is not waiting for you to leave. She is not waiting for you to wake. She is simply here, breathing, while you rest. That is a gift. You may accept it without thanks. No thanks is needed. No thanks has ever been needed here. In, out. The light shifts again, very slowly. The violet deepens, perhaps, or perhaps it softens. You cannot tell, and it does not matter. Color, in this hour, is only another kind of breath. It comes. It goes. You let it. A small, round note. A longer, quiet. Another note. The bells are spacing themselves wider now, like footprints in soft sand at the edge of an outgoing tide. Soon there will be only one footprint left, then none. Then the sand will be smooth again, and the tide will be far out, and the bells will rest, and you will rest, and the dome will go on breathing slowly above you, without needing anyone to listen. You can stop listening now, if you like. You can stop listening to the bells. You can stop listening to the mist. You can stop listening to the soft sound of my voice. My voice can fade, the way the bells fade, the way the light fades, the way warm steam fades from the surface of a cooling cup. There's no need to hold on to any of it. In, out, warm, quiet, slow. The conservatory tilts. A hair, a breath. The cork lifts and settles. The linen warms beneath you. The mist gathers along the inside of the dome and finds its slow way down through the moss, drop by patient drop. The moss keepers sleep in their small, rounded alcoves somewhere beyond this room. The lantern tenders sleep in theirs. The bell listener sleeps with one ear open, which is enough, which has always been enough. The kitchen keepers have banked the embers in the long stone hearth and laid a folded cloth across the kneading board. The cups are dry. The pots are scrubbed. The jars of tea have been turned a quarter turn, as they are turned every night, so that the leaves rest evenly. The whole quiet town beneath the dome is settling, the way a thick blanket settles when it is laid across a sleeping shoulder. You are part of that settling now. You are one of the warm shapes beneath the blanket. You are one of the small lights going gently out. In, out. A jelly drifts. A jelly pulses. A jelly drifts. You drift. You pulse very softly in your chest. You drift. The motifs are the same as they have been all night. Warm mist, cool cork, soft linen, violet light, a small round note. You know them now. They know you. You can let them carry you the rest of the way. The rest of the way is not far. The rest of the way is only one more breath, and then one more, and then one more. In, out, in, out, in, out. If a thought comes, let it be a slow jelly. Let it drift past the glass. Let it pulse once, softly. Let it move on into the dark water beyond the dome. You do not have to follow it. You do not have to name it. You do not have to hold it. Another thought, if it comes, is another jelly. Another slow drift. Another soft pulse. Another quiet passing. The dome is patient with thoughts. The dome has seen many thoughts come and go. The dome holds none of them. The dome only breathes. You only breathe. In, out. Somewhere, a long way off, a single bell rings one more small round note. It is the last note for a while. The bell listener notes it, half asleep, and then sleeps fully. The note travels out across the cork floors and the moss walls and the warm mist, and it finds you, and it touches you, gently, the way a hand might rest for a moment on a sleeping shoulder. And then it is gone. The note has done its small, kind work. You can let it go. In, out. The violet light is softer now, softer still. It is the color of the inside of an eyelid in a warm room. It is the color of a memory of warmth. It is the color of nothing in particular, only quiet, only ease, only the long, slow turning of a tide far out beyond the dome. The tide is very far out now. The sand is smooth. The footprints of the bells are gone. The shore is quiet. You are the shore. The tide is your breath, returning slowly, slowly, in its own time. In, out. Imeris' shawl rises and falls, slowly, beside you. The apprentice has gone to her own small alcove, or perhaps she is asleep on a low bench by the door. You do not know, and it does not matter. The small round room holds everyone who needs to be held. It holds you. The cork is cool. The linen is warm. The mist is warm. The light is soft. You are held. You are held by the linen, and by the cork, and by the moss, and by the glass, and by the long, slow breath of the dome above you. You are held by the patient drifting of the jellies. You are held by the quiet town settling beneath its blanket. You are held by the slow turning of a tide that has been turning since long before you arrived, and will keep turning long after you have gone wherever sleep takes you. Sleep is a place. Sleep is a soft, round place. Sleep is very near. You may step into it whenever you like. There's no threshold. There's no door. You simply notice, after a while, that you are already there. In, out. The dome breathes. You breathe. A jelly drifts. A jelly pulses. A jelly drifts. The light grows softer. The notes are gone now. The bells are resting. The bell listener is resting. The moss keepers are resting. The lantern tenders are resting. The kitchen keepers are resting. Imeris is resting. The apprentice is resting. The conservatory is resting in its slow, tilting way, which is its way of resting. You are resting. In, out. If you are still with me, just a little, just enough to hear these last soft words, that is fine. If you have already gone on ahead into sleep, that is fine too. My voice will keep going for a little while, softly, like the last drops of mist finding their slow way down through the moss. You do not have to listen. You can let my voice be one more drop of mist, one more slow pulse, one more small round note very far away, warm, quiet, slow. The cork lifts, the cork settles, the linen holds you, the mist holds you, the light holds you, in, out. You are very far inside the dome now. You have always been welcome here. You may stay as long as you wish. You may leave whenever you wish, by the soft path of sleep, which is the path everyone here takes in time. There is no need to remember the way back. The way back will remember you. When you wake, later, much later, in a different light, you will find that the way back has waited for you, quietly, the way a folded shawl waits on the back of a chair. But that is not now. Now is only this. Now is warm mist. Now is cool cork. Now is soft linen. Now is violet light. Now is a small round note, very far away, fading. Now is your breath, slow, easy, your own. In, out, in, out. The dome breathes around you. The tide turns far below. The jellies drift in their slow, patient way. The moss drinks its slow drops. The cork lifts and settles. The linen warms. The light softens. You are held. You are warm. You are safe. You are at rest. There's nothing more to do. There's nothing more to hear. There's nothing more to carry. In, out. Let the dome breathe for you, if you like. Let the tide turn for you. Let the jellies drift for you. Let the bells ring far away, when they ring at all without you. You have earned this rest. You have earned this quiet. You have earned this warm, small room beneath the long, slow dome. Stay as long as you like. Sleep as long as you like. The conservatory will keep its slow tilt. The cork will keep its slow lift. The mist will keep its slow fall. The light will keep its slow breath. And you will keep your slow, easy breath until you do not need to keep it, until it keeps itself, the way it always has, the way it always will. In, out, warm mist, cool cork, soft linen, violet light, a small round note very far away, drift, pulse, drift. The dome breathes. You breathe. The light grows softer, softer, softer still. The mist settles. The cork is cool. The linen is warm. Imeris is near. You are held. You are at rest. Sleep now. Sleep if you have not already. Sleep if you have. The dome will keep breathing. The tide will keep turning. The jellies will keep drifting. The bells will keep their long quiet. And you will keep sleeping gently in the warm violet light, beneath the slow breathing dome, on a soft warm linen, on the cool patient cork, beside the kind quiet woman, in a small round room, in the quiet town, far inside the long slow turning of a tide that is in no hurry, that has never been in any hurry, that never will be. In, out, warm, quiet, slow, rest, rest, rest now, drift, pulse, drift, sleep, 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 and the dome breathes on without you, for you, with you, softly, slowly, gently, on and on and on, warm mist, cool cork, soft linen, violet light, a small round note, very far away, drift, pulse, drift, and sleep, sleep, sleep.
you.